gay. But the line about
Republicans.
the line about Muslims is really scary because they say, we don't hate Muslims. We hate Islam. We hate the invasion of our country. That is rhetoric that you hear on right-wing media. That is rhetoric that you hear in the House of Representatives. That is what you hear from Randy Fine. That is what you hear from Republicans. That is what you hear in America. So that is not just some Nazi.
That was journalist Mehdi Hassan on the PBD podcast, and it only gets more intense from there. Here is the full breakdown.
Two Nazi teenagers who shot and killed 3 people, including the security guard, who had 8 kids. Police say he was a hero, saved 100 kids in that mosque, in the school, right? Murdered by 2 guys. Do you read their manifesto? I don't like reading these shooters' manifestos.
I read the whole thing.
Some of the lines in there are crazy. They say, you know what they say?
Towards everybody.
You know, towards everybody. Jews, women, Muslims.
Right.
Mehdi opens with a real attack, not a hypothetical. 3 people killed at a mosque in San Diego. He went further and read the shooter's manifesto. The key line, we don't hate Muslims, we hate Islam, we hate the invasion of our country. His point that exact language is not fringe. It appears regularly in mainstream political media and on the floor of Congress. FBI hate crime data consistently shows anti-Muslim incidents rise sharply following periods of intense political messaging framing Muslim communities as a threat.
I'm against violence. So I'm saying to you, for example, you did a show recently, or not recently, I looked it up because I knew we were going to talk about Islam here. You have a show on YouTube called Islam's Hidden Threat to the West. You have another headline, Will Muslims Run America in 30 Years? Now, I know you like to host good faith discussions and debates, but you have to understand, if people get this in their feeds and their social media all the time, are you telling...
This is the turning point. Mehdi stops arguing in theory and uses Patrick's own content against him. You cannot claim to host balanced good faith discussions while simultaneously titling your videos Islam's Hidden Threat and Will Muslims Take Over America? Patrick's response acknowledged that rhetoric has real consequences, which is a partial concession of everything Mehdi had been arguing. The audience noticed. The host noticed too.
And even if, by the way, if we do grow as a community, even that, this is, I'm sorry to go back to World War II and the Nazis, but look at the rhetoric that Nazis used about Jews in 1920s, 30s. These people are aliens, they are parasites, they're leeching off our state. The rhetoric is, it's very similar. When I listen to Andy Ogles, and I listen to Chip Roy, and I listen to Randy... Yes.
Mehdi is not calling Patrick a Nazi. He is making a structural argument about language. Historians who study propaganda have documented this pattern repeatedly, framing a minority group as aliens, as invaders, as people who do not belong follows the same rhetorical blueprint regardless of the era. The specific words change. The structure does not. Once a narrative becomes normalized in mainstream media and political speech, extreme actors use it as justification. That is not a theory, it is a documented pattern with a long historical record. Mehdi pivots from rhetoric to money, and this is where Patrick has no answer. The $500 million UAE investment in Trump's crypto fund the day before inauguration is a reported and documented figure covered by Forbes and multiple financial investigations. Mehdi's point is about consistency. The same people who questioned every dollar connected to Democratic politicians have been largely silent on this. A double standard in political scrutiny is not a partisan issue, it is a credibility issue for everyone.
Finish the quote. I will. Ilhan Omar has spent her political career trying to get free lunches for every American child, including the children of MAGA voters. Donald Trump has spent his presidency taking away Medicare, taking away health care from people, taking Medicaid away from people. So yes, Ilhan Omar loves Americans more than Donald Trump loves Americans. By the way, when she was threatened by a Trump supporter who tried to kill her, he went to prison, tried to kill Ilhan Omar in 2019. She went to the sentencing and she asked for his sentence to be reduced to give him grace. I can't imagine.
Mehdi ends not with a statistic, but with a story. A man tried to murder Ilhan Omar in 2019. He was convicted. At his sentencing, she showed up and asked the judge to reduce his sentence. That one documented action is Mehdi's closing argument. Not a poll, not a financial report, a single human decision under extraordinary circumstances. It is very hard to argue with. That is the veridical breakdown. Mehdi Hassan came with specific facts, specific titles, specific dollar amounts, and one powerful human story. That is the standard every political debate should be held to. Subscribe for breakdowns like this every week, and drop in the comments who made the stronger argument. See you in the next one.